Department of Energy Undersecretary Alessandro Sales, U.S. Embassy Acting Deputy Chief of Mission Mr. David Campbell, Embassy of Japan Attaché Yasuhiro, I hope I pronounced that right, and UPSC RFI Vice President Dr. Joseph Mansangan, our project partners from the DOE, of course, Director Rina Abad, and key government agencies and local government units, guests, GPDP staff and researchers, good afternoon. My task this afternoon is to briefly present the key accomplishments of the GPDP2, or the Gas Policy Development Project, Phase 2. Next slide, please. So Phase 2 of the Gas Policy Development Project would not have been possible without the generous funding and technical support of the U.S. Department of State, particularly the Bureau of Energy Resources under its Asia Edge initiative. Shout out to our DOS project manager, Robert Lehman, as well as to Evan McLaughlin earlier in the project. The project was implemented by the UP Statistical Center Research Foundation, incorporated or UPSC RFI, and this two-year project started in September 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. So we have just started meeting face-to-face with everybody. Shown here in the photos are the virtual signing ceremony of the Memorandum of Agreement between the Department of Energy and UPSC RFI, represented then by former DOE Secretary Alfonso Pusi and former UPSC RFI President Dr. Helpaz Selna. Next slide, please. The GPDP2 had 4 components. First is technical assistance to the Department of Energy Natural Gas Management Division of the Oil Industry Management Bureau in the implementation, particularly of the Philippine Downstream Natural Gas Regulation, or PDNGR, which is also known as the Department Circular 2017-11-0012. And then the second component is capacity strengthening of the DOE and GMD and key regulatory agencies, as well as local government units. The third component is research, which is aimed at providing improved understanding of the potential LNG market in the Philippines, in the power and non-power sectors. And the fourth component is policy advisory on liquefied natural gas. Next slide, please. So under technical assistance, there were 2 outputs. The main output is the proposed regulatory process, which is a list of regulatory recommendations for each key government agency and local government unit who are mandated to issue permits or clearances regarding or needed by LNG proponents. The recommendations are aimed at addressing identified issues in the mandated permitting and monitoring processes, including the adoption of globally accepted codes, standards, and best practices in the design, siting, construction, and operation of LNG facilities. The second output has to do with the LNG standard development. So here we provided initial support to the Department of Energy during its inception activities with the Bureau of Philippine Standards regarding the establishment of Philippine standards for LNG. And that's something that we look forward to for GPDP3. So that's something of a way forward. Next slide, please. So that's for the technical assistance. Now, under capacity strengthening, in line with the GPDP objective to strengthen the capacity of the DOE and its partner agencies to implement the Philippine Downstream Natural Gas Regulation, GPDP2 conducted 21 online trainings for the Philippine Downstream Natural Gas industry regulators and stakeholders. The trainings were attended by about 1,440 participants, that's a cumulative number, from 17 government agencies and 15 private companies. During the first year of implementation, the U.S. Department of Commerce Commercial Law Development Program, or CLDP, was instrumental in gathering a pool of experts to provide the initial trainings. So shout out to Sue Logan and Mohammed Badisi, who for their wonderful assistance with their network of experts. And during the second year of the project, our local experts from the UP College of Engineering provided the trainings which were specific to the proposed regulatory process. So these were trainings aimed at specifically at the key government agencies and LGUs. And the second output is the envisioning. Well, we were envisioning a substantial growth in LNG here in the Philippines. So we believe that we need to develop human capacity with knowledge on LNG, its properties, production, transportation, storage, and regasification, with particular consideration on the health, safety, security, and environmental issues. So this is why the local experts from the University of the Philippines College of Engineering offered a course, an elective course. It was an elective graduate course on LNG during the second semester, just last semester. And so we hope to be able to offer that course again in the future. So that's for capacity strengthening. Next slide, please. On research, GPDP2 also completed 2 research studies aimed at substantiating the promotion of an LNG market development in the country. So the first research study is the market profiling study, which explored the sentiment and knowledge of locators in special economic zones in Calabarzon, Clark, Subic, and Bataan areas. Particularly, we wanted to know their willingness or ability to switch to natural gas in their operations. And the other research study undertook technical studies on natural gas applications in the power, transportation, and industrial sectors. The results of these two studies were presented in a research seminar held last July at F1 Hotel with representatives from private companies in attendance, a majority of whom had either ongoing LNG projects or LNG projects in the pipeline. During the GPDP2 implementation also, some of the GPDP1, the first phase, some of their outputs were presented in conferences and published as well in peer-reviewed journals. So that's for research. And the last one, policy advisory. GPDP2 actively provided technical inputs on LNG and natural gas during public hearings and technical working group meetings called by the Senate Committee on Energy and the House Committee on Energy, as well as the Maritime Industry Authority. Next slide, please. All of the aforementioned outputs of the project have been consolidated and included in the updating of the Natural Gas Development Plan, which aims to be a comprehensive guide for agency regulators, policymakers, and investors on the thrust of the Philippine downstream natural gas industry. The NGDP, or the Natural Gas Development Plan, was co-produced with the DOE NGMD and is the major tangible output of the GPDP2, which we will be turning over to the Department of Energy this afternoon. And lastly, I think, all right, so also this afternoon, I'm happy to announce that we will be launching the GPDP website. Okay? The website is a legacy project of the GPDP from which resources such as GPDP training videos and GPDP project reports on the natural gas industry could be accessed by stakeholders even after the project's conclusion. So we hope that the website will be a veritable source of information for the industry. And finally, I would like to say thank you to everyone, agencies that have supported the GPDP. Of course, the Department of Energy, especially the team of OIMB Director Rino Abad, and of course, Assistant Director Del Romero and Ma'am Laura Sagin, and her team at the Natural Gas Management Division. Hello, everyone. Again, the U.S. Department of State, the UP Statistical Center, Research Foundation Incorporated, which implemented the project, the Batangas City Local Government Unit, particularly the City Engineer's Office and the City Health Office. I'll be mentioning each one of these. The Department of Natural Resources, Environmental Management Bureau, Department of Health, Bureau of Quarantine, the Department of Labor, we have representatives here, Occupational Safety and Health Center, and the Bureau of Working Conditions. And we have three components of the Department of Transportation, that's the Philippine Coast Guard, and the Maritime Industry Authority, and the Philippine Ports Authority. Also, the Laguna Lake Development Authority, the Local Government Unit of Pagbilao, the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, which is very helpful in our market profiling study, the Tokyo Gas Company Limited, thank you very much for your assistance. Of course, the U.S. Department of Commerce, CLDP, USAID Asia Gas Partnership, and the United States Energy Association. I would also like to recognize here our GPDP staff. Right, I think they were the ones meeting all of you, of course, headed by our Deputy Director for Administration, Ms. J.Cat. And our team of researchers, research associates over there, they're all there in the table. Our team of economic experts, Dr. Maharabago, Dr. Carl Yandok, Professor Raul Fabella with Renzi Frias. Our team of engineering technical researchers, Engineer Benboy Subosa, Engineer Paul Jake Nazaro, and Thea May Baltazar. And of course, our team of experts in engineering, headed by our Deputy Director, Melit Villanueva over there, okay, Professor Jun Ignacio, Dr. Eric Cruz, Dr. Joseph Gerard Reyes, Professor Paul Rogers, and the late Dr. Alan Nerves. Again, thank you very much, everybody, and mabuhay po tayong lahat.